Hey guys, Perry here. It is July 31st when I'm recording this, and I'm about to go on vacation in 2 weeks. I'm taking my wife and kids to Chicago to meet up with some family and friends, and give them all a chance to meet my son for the first time since he was born after our last trip. We're going to be gone for about a month or so, and won't be returning home until around the middle of September. Now, by the time you listen to this, you might be saying, wait, it's now mid-late September, so what's going on? And you'd be right. As you probably already know, I tend to batch record these episodes in advance, sometimes a few months in advance, since that allows me to get ahead of things with my often hectic schedule, and my backlog is actually set to run out around when we return. Rather than try to quickly arrange episodes week to week, I thought I'd take a bit of a break. This is going to allow me to get some new episodes recorded and also shift focus to some other stuff, including an exciting project I'll tell you about in just a moment. But I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. For the next 2 months or so, I'll be loading up what I'm calling SCP Classic. These will be selected episodes, most of them from when Derrick was still with us, and they'll have some connection to stuff that's already out there. For example, since this summer saw the release of The Flash, Secret Invasion, Across the Spider-Verse, My Adventures with Superman, and even Barbie, I'm looking at episodes that have some connection to those projects. I won't be adding any new intros to these episodes or doing any editing, any additional editing, that is. I'm just going to drop the files into the podcast feed. So don't be surprised if you hear some out-of-date ads, news, or banter. Now, as for that piece of news I mentioned before, one of the things I've been working on lately is a comic book project. I'm part of a public domain group on Facebook, and periodically people will post discussion threads like, recreate this popular superhero team, but using public domain characters. One of these topics began with the prompt, continue Zack Snyder's Justice League universe with public domain characters. I was bored, and so I came up with a list, posted it up, and thought that was that. But the idea stuck with me, and soon I started messing around with sketches and character designs while making notes for rebooting these characters. Before I knew it, I had quite a lot of stuff assembled, and I started thinking about pursuing this as a project. Around the same time, I was chatting with Thomas DJ, who you probably remember from the episode following Derrick's passing. He and Derrick used to host the Better in the Dark podcast years back. And Tom and I have been friends for a long time as well. And we've been talking about maybe doing something with some public domain characters, and Tom had a bunch of notes that he had compiled years ago that he dug up. And while I was looking over those notes, I thought, let me send him what I've got done here, even though it's completely unrelated. And so I sent him my stuff, and he looked over it, and he took to it like a duck to water. Next thing I knew, we were shooting emails back and forth, and he was coming up with a lot of great additions and suggestions to the whole thing. Before I knew it, we had the makings of a pretty exciting superhero comic. Now, there was just one problem. I didn't have faith that I could handle the artwork. This project was expanding beyond what I felt my art skills were capable of. Around this same time, I got a friend of mine, Eric Johns, who had recently become active again in artwork, and he'd been posting up a lot of these amazing sketches he was doing. And one of his goals was he was doing these sketches to keep his skills sharp and in hopes of doing some actual comic book work. So I sent him the notes we had compiled and the script, and he loved it. So the project is called Paragons of Earth. The members of our Public Domain Justice League are Atom Man, the Owl, Amazona, the Iron Skull, the Silver Streak, the Shark, Diamond Jack, and the Magician from Mars. We'll also have some other public domain characters popping up, like Captain Battle, and also Cairo Jones. And they'll be facing off against a Lovecraftian apocalypse, because if you're going to go big with this, then you need really big villains too. And it's a fun project. I'm really enjoying working on it. So are the other guys as well. Tom and I are doing the writing. Tom's kind of like the showrunner. He's handling most of the plot details while I'm handling the actual script. Although we kind of workshop the story idea, the larger story ideas together. Eric is doing the pencils, and I am handling everything else. So that is inks, colors, and letters. And at the time I'm recording this, we have all the pages penciled and inked, about half the pages are fully colored, and maybe a quarter of those pages are lettered. We're going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign soon, At the time of this recording soon. But at the time of this recording, that campaign has not yet gone live. However, what we do have ready to go now is a Substack, which you can sign up to receive updates and be notified when the campaign is live. The Substack is completely free. It's just being used as a place to gather interest and keep people updated. And you can sign up for that at paragonscomic.substack.com, and that link will also be in the show notes. Hopefully, by the time you listen to this brief episode, the crowdfunding campaign will be live. Finally, I'm also on Blue Sky now. You can find my personal Blue Sky account under Per Constantine, and the podcast account is Super Cinema Pod, same as they both are on Twitter and Instagram. Now that Musk has pretty much completely destroyed Twitter, I will not be using it very much anymore. So if you're on Blue Sky, that will be my new social page. I'll still be posting episode updates to Twitter, but that's probably about it. Blue Sky is really the place to come if you're going to want to connect with me, or also you can reach out through email, superherocinefiles@gmail.com, or also on Facebook or anything like that. Oh, and this summer, I'm appearing on a few different shows. Almost all of those should be out by the time you listen to this. I was on Digging for Kryptonite a second time to discuss the Steven Seagle, Gail Simone, and Mark Verheiden runs on the Superman books, and I was also on Summoning the Zords to discuss Koryu Sentai Zyuranger. That was the Japanese show that Power Rangers was based on. Both those shows are hosted by recurring guest Anthony Desiato. I was also on Podcast 616, hosted by Ashley Thomas and Hugh McStay, again, who have both been guests on here. And when I was on their show, I was there to discuss the 4th episode of Secret Invasion. And finally, another guest, Alex Marcus, had me on his show, Bill vs. the MCU, to talk about the Ghost Rider segment of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, I know that's supposed to come out sometime in September, but I'm not exactly sure when. So it may be available when you listen to this, but if it's not, it will be soon. Anyway, that's it for now. Please enjoy these classic episodes, and check out paragonscomic.substack.com. Again, that link will be in the show notes, and I'll talk to you again probably in November. See you then.
Thank you for listening, and as always, good night, good evening, God bless.